I have noticed a very worrying trend that buyers are just foregoing the inspection because they want to win the house. Okay, but what if you forego your inspection to win the house and half of it is falling into the ocean? I don't know, there's no ocean in Colorado, but what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? My name is Jessica Dorsey, and I'm a real estate agent in Windsor, Colorado, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are continuing on in my video series of Dear God, It's Me, a millennial who just wants to buy a fucking house. So in my previous videos, I think this is number 6, I kind of went over some financing stuff for everyone, how to find your real estate agent, what comes first, the lender or the real estate agent, how to have an effective home search, and this video is going to cover how to make an offer that's gonna get accepted in this market. I am sure everyone knows that the year that must not be named and 2021 have been insane in the real estate market. And that is true. And so I'm hearing a lot of first-time home buyers being super frustrated with their offers just not getting accepted. That's not your agent's fault. Sometimes what tends to be happening right now is that cash is king, and in Colorado especially, we are seeing a lot of the coastal cities moving to Colorado with plenty of cash to burn. So if you are not also an all-cash offer, you will 99.99999% of the time lose out to an all-cash offer. That's no one's fault. They have the cash to do it, and cash is king. But if you are not competing against an all-cash offer, I wanted to give you some of my top tips in order to get your offer accepted. So today we're going to go over 5 of those tips. Tip number 1 is to have your agent call the listing agent. I do this automatically for my buyers. Most agents will. It's fine to remind your agent to please call the listing agent if this is the house you think you want. One of the reasons that your agent needs to call the listing agent is to see if there are multiple offers that have already been placed. If there have been multiple offers that have already been placed, your tactics are going to be a little bit different than if you are the only offer on the table and the only offer expected. So knowing that you are competing against how many other offers, some listing agents might tell you, yeah, I've got 10 in front of me already. Other agents will just say, we have multiple. It really doesn't matter if it's you versus one other person or you versus 25 other people. Once you're in a multiple offer situation, it's important to know that because it is going to change your tactics. Tip number 2 is to find your magic number. Now, I think there's a misconception here with real estate agents telling their buyers what to offer on the house. I am not an agent that operates that way. What we do with our buyers is tell them that they need to figure out a number where they are comfortable getting and losing the house at, and that should be the same number. So for instance, let's say that I just realized my heater was on. Hopefully the sound is fine. So let's say, for instance, that you found your dream house, you're ready to make an offer, your listing agent has called, or your buyer's agent has called the listing agent, and that house is listed at $400,000. You know you're in a multiple offer situation. You need to decide, either by yourself or with whoever is purchasing the house with you, what your magic number is. So if the house is listed at $400,000, let's say that you decide you're going to offer $405. $405 is your magic number. So that means if you get the house at $405 and you find out that the next closest offer was at $403, are you going to be freaking pissed? If you are, I would maybe suggest lowering your number. On the other hand, if you offered $405 and you found out that you lost the house to someone who offered $407, are you going to Hulk out? So that's what I mean when I say find your magic number and know where you're comfortable getting and losing the house at. Even if it's something like you offered $425 and the closest person was at $410, are you so excited to have that house that you don't care that you overpaid by 15 grand? These are things that only you can decide, and this is why I never suggest numbers to my buyers. I will give comps, we'll talk about what's happening in the market. Ultimately, it's your house and it's your money, and you need to be the one that is comfortable with it. Don't let people bully you into a number. Just stand strong in your magic number. Tip number 3, escalation clauses are your best friend. I have won numerous offers this year by using an escalation clause. I think that they are very useful. I'm seeing a little bit of the sellers deciding that they're not going to accept escalation clauses. They want best and final right out of the gate, which, okay, that's a tactic. But you have your magic number, so you are able to do that. If you're still a little bit hesitant on making a best and final right out of the gate, an escalation clause is a good clause. Essentially, it means that you're going to start at the base, and any other offer that comes in, you're going to say that I'm going to beat that offer by this amount up to this amount. So think of it like a staircase. We're going to go back to the $400,000 house. Let's say you're coming in strong, you're going to offer $405. So we're already above list. That's fine. That's kind of what's happening in this market right now. And let's say that your magic number is going to be 415. So 405, 415. What happens with an escalation clause is if somebody comes in with a higher offer than yours, you have dictated in the contract what you will beat that offer by. I tend to tell my buyers $1,151 is a really cool number to use because most people are going to use round numbers. I'm going to beat that offer by $500. I'm going to beat that offer by $1,000. Adding kind of a different number into the mix is going to change things up a little bit and usually in your favor. So you've offered 405. Somebody comes in at 406. Technically, that has beaten your offer, but they don't have an escalation clause. You do. So your offer automatically jumps up to 407,151 because you said you would beat any other offer by $1,151. So that ultimately just keeps stair-stepping up to your cap. So I would suggest using your magic number as your cap and starting a little bit lower so that you feel comfortable no matter what, and make sure your agent puts in the offer that you want proof that it escalated to that number. There will be times where it doesn't escalate past 1 or 2 escalations. There will be times it goes all the way to the top. So you just want to make sure that, and technically the listing agent has to provide the other offers that caused it to escalate. I always say, dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure it's in there using an escalation clause with proof. You want to have that with proof in there. Tip number 4, inspection, but for health and safety. I have noticed a very worrying trend that buyers are just foregoing the inspection because they want to win the house. Okay, but what if you forego your inspection to win the house and half of it is falling into the ocean? I don't know, there's no ocean in Colorado, but I had a buyer who was a little bit hesitant to put an inspection clause into their offer because it was spring of 2021 and things were still flying off the shelves. And we had been looking for a while. He really wanted this house, felt it was a great buy, didn't feel like he needed an inspection. I all but made him do an inspection because it is important to me that you know what you are buying. This is going to be a huge financial responsibility. You need to know exactly what is under the house. You need to know what you're buying. Go into this eyes wide open. So we ended up doing an inspection on this house, and come to find out, there was huge cracks in the foundation that was going to cost him $40,000 at least to fix. And we were in a contract that we were already like maybe 20 grand over asking price. So that extra 40 grand on top of the 20 that he was kind of already spending would have messed his whole flip up. So make sure you do an inspection. If you're nervous about it, you can say for health and safety reasons only. So that means things like radon gas is an issue, the foundation cracks are an issue, electrical problems are a health and safety risks, mold are health and safety. So if any of those kinds of things are found during the inspection period, you are allowed to go back to the drawing board and ask the seller to fix those things. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to ask the seller to paint the house or change the carpet. Right now, those kinds of requests are not being fulfilled. And keep in mind that sellers don't have to fulfill any requests that you make in an inspection. They can say no and put their house back on the market if you choose to walk away. So just keep that in mind and do an inspection. And my last tip for today, tip number 5, is going to be make your deposit non-refundable. When you are buying a house and you go under contract, you typically have 72 hours to get a check into whoever's holding the earnest money or the deposit. So a tactic that I have used frequently over the last year was to make that earnest money non-refundable. I tend to suggest doing it within different stages of the transaction. So let's say your earnest money that is due is $3,000. After the inspection period, $1,500 of it becomes non-refundable. So even if you walk away after you have passed through the inspection period and everyone has agreed on certain terms or whatever and you're on to the next step, if for whatever reason you choose to walk away after, you're only getting $1,500 back. Another place I will tend to put non-refundable money in is after the appraisal period. So if the house appraises and everything is great and we're moving towards closing, that other $1,500 is now deemed non-refundable. So then if anything happens between the appraisal period and closing and you walk away, your $3,000 is now the seller's. So it is risky, but ultimately that earnest money will go towards your closing costs so that if everything comes to fruition and everyone makes it to the closing table, it's fine. You didn't lose that money. It went towards your closing. But if something comes up between inspection and appraisal or appraisal and closing and you decide to terminate, you're going to lose some of that money. So make sure if you're making this decision that you have the money to lose. And it ultimately just shows the sellers that you are serious. If you are serious about buying the house and you've done your due diligence as far as your loan application and all of that, you should be fine to put non-earnest money down. But just know that it comes with its risks. Okay, everybody, those are some of my top tips in order to get your offer accepted in this crazy market. I will say, at least in Colorado, it's starting to slow down a little bit. I'm seeing more houses stay on the market, and I'm seeing less of a crazy amount that it's selling for. So if you are buying a house right now or attempting to, don't give up. Keep going, keep talking to your agent, keep utilizing those resources that you do have within your agent and lender, and just keep at it because I think there's a bright spot coming. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. Shoot me a text or call me at 970-692-3573 or shoot me an email at homeagain@jessicadorsey.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day.